Welcome to another episode of Break Time, the show that pumps the brakes on the busy lives of our guests, allowing them to slow down and open up. Today's guest has an amazing career, starting with speech and drama, classes in Portadown, to establishing one of the most trusted talent management agencies globally, attending the Baftas, walking the Oscars red carpet. She's managed and mentored Oscar winners, rising stars, comedians, sat in rooms with Hollywood royalty, and witnessed one of the most surreal moments in modern awards history, and built one of Northern Ireland's most respected talent agencies along the way. Her school has been awarded champion status by Trinity College London, and she is the host of the increasingly popular Talent Talks podcast. What fascinates me most is that this all started with a shy young girl, and is like many who struggle with their own confidence. So I am delighted this morning to welcome Shelley Lowry to Break Time.
Thank you so much. Can I just bring you everywhere to do that introduction just any time I need to be introduced? That's wonderful. Thank you.
Your career is absolutely amazing. It really is. And when we go back to that shy girl, how you've spoken in the early years, how it was so painful to stand up in front of people, and how did you manage to get the confidence you have now?
Do you know, it is, I can remember being that shy child and my mother forcing me to go to a speech and drama teacher on a Monday, 3:30. I remember the slot, I remember the room, the smells of the room, and wondering, why was my mother forcing me to do this? Now, I also remember being really upset when like uncles and aunties and all came around to visit because I was too shy to speak to them. Mm-hmm. So she made me do this. Thank the Lord above that my mother kept me at it and kept me consistent at it, because I was made to stand up in front of groups of people even when I didn't want to. I was made to do exams in front of one examiner. And then one day everything sort of clicked. I think I was about 8. And my mother had entered me to Portadown Speech and Drama Festival. I did a poem and I won a cup. And I didn't quite understand why I'd won the cup, but what I saw was the effect that it had on my mum and how proud she was. I got a round of applause from strangers. And I went, ooh, this actually feels quite nice. What have I been so worried about? Plus, I was taken to Jeffers up the town in Portadown and bought a toy. Yeah. So then I got that positive association with speaking in public, and then that was it. Then you try and keep me off a stage now, or keep me away from talking to people. Yeah. But I remember it, and I think just that now I understand, appreciate the value of investing in your child or yourself when it comes to developing your communication skills.
I think we all went through that era. I mean, I was the same. I was, again, walked up that path and off you go, and you're like, what are we doing here? And my 2 brothers as well. And again, when you're standing or sitting in the festivals going, oh, what am I doing here? And the panic, the sheer panic in your face going, I'm number 8, I have to go up here. And your mother nudging closer.
And that feeling.
And you go up, and then it's like, remember the words, the diction, you're trying to get the story across, and then the relief, it's over. And then back up to listen to your mother going like, that was great, or you could have done this better, or whatever. But I think that most children in that era, I'd probably gone through that, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, we were lucky that, I really wanted to do dancing or swimming or whatever. And at the time, my mother and father didn't have enough money to send me to anything else. And they said, no, this is your thing, stick at it, and, put your heart and soul into this one thing and be really good at it. And thank goodness for that, because then I absolutely loved it. And it has opened so many doors for me and for my pupils now. And I'm actually an adjudicator now. I go on an adjudicate festival. So
you are that face. So
I try and be as encouraging as possible, because I remember how we all felt as you describe it, exactly that,
The fear. And when you're looking at your own students now, can you see a version of yourself in them, and you're trying to I suppose, bring them onto a different level of not being so fearful about it?
Yes. And I think particularly now when we've all got screens, right? And kids have all got phones in their hand and iPads in their hands from such an early age, that interpersonal skill thing is more important than ever. Yeah. So we try to encourage, the really big thing in our line of business is the positive association with performance. That's where I got the value from it and understood. That was when I had the eureka moment of why it was important to do it. So that's what we try to do. So we have in-house events where all the children are encouraged. We do shows at the MAC, Marketplace Theatre in Armagh, Civic Centre in Craigavon, all of that sort of stuff. And then, of course, we have the agency that's attached that the young people who are particularly interested or show talent for it, then we can have professional opportunities introduced to them then as well.
It's amazing. It's a great journey for anybody who goes on that journey. But when you started out, you didn't go really the traditional way. You didn't go straight into speech and drama. You went off and you saw Starry Lights in Top of the Pops and the iconic, was it Friday to Saturday night that it was on?
So it was on, it used to be a Thursday night, right? 24 million people used to tune in on a Thursday night at 7:30 on BBC One. And then, but when I worked on it, it was on a Friday night at 7:30. And listen, growing up here, I was totally obsessed with Top of the Pops. But probably hyper fixated is what I would probably describe it as. Couldn't wait every week for the show. It was real escapism from pretending to dance behind the sofa, being legs and co, and then right the way up to, I would have watched it every week, even whenever I was working on it. I loved it. So yes, I went to university in Manchester and then thought, right, if I don't go now to London, I'll never go. So went to London initially with Marks and Spencer doing their management training program, and then thought, why am I putting Mars Piper potatoes out here? I'm in London. I could be doing anything, So started working for free at the BBC and worked in a number of different departments, but really with my eye on the prize, which was to get into Top of the Pops. And thankfully, they were doing the history of Top of the Pops at the time. They needed a researcher to go through all the archive footage. And because I was that nerd who'd watched it every week.
You knew.
Oh, I had this weird encyclopaedic knowledge of all the things that had gone wrong on Top of the Pops between 1982 and 2000. The turn of the millennium. And so they gave me a job.
Pure timing as well.
Timing. That's what I have found actually a lot with my career has been being in the right place at the right time and making the most of the opportunity as it appeared. So got into Top of the Pops, made myself indispensable, bless them, on the history of Top of the Pops. And then when that finished, my boss said, "You're not going anywhere. You're going to work here with us." And BBC Worldwide gave me a staff contract, which is, I know, brilliant.
You couldn't write the script for that. You couldn't. So, and I suppose working on Top of the Pops, when you're seeing that as a young child and that was amazing, what was the reality? Was it different?
I was thinking about the chat with you in the car on the way down, and I thought this was quite an important thing to mention. So when I graduated from university, I went for a number of different job interviews, and one was with a lady in Belfast who insisted I do some psychometric testing with her, right? And the psychometric test revealed that I had to be working in something that was superficially glamorous, right? Okay. So really hard work, but looked really glam on the outset, right? On the outside. So you couldn't describe Top of the Pops more better than that, superficially glamorous. Looks amazing when you tune in the TV, but oh my word, the work that was involved behind the scenes. And you didn't complain about hours. You didn't complain about how people spoke to you. If shares people wanted to give off to you in the corridor about something or other, you didn't complain to HR about it. You know what I mean? You just got on with it. And there's no such thing as 9 to 5. It was whatever hours were required to get the job done, you just did it. And we were there because it was a passion, I suppose. Yeah. So it was
vocation more than anything else.
Yeah.
Something you've always wanted to do. And
always wanted to do it. So every day that I was on the show, every day that I walked into Television Centre or up in Bournemouth, I was just so grateful to be there, and grateful for the work and grateful to be involved in it. And to have been watching it every week as a child, to actually being in the space. I remember one of the first times I was there, Sia came in And she was amazing. She sang live and her voice just filled the studio. And I turned to my boss and I went, this is the most magical place on the planet.
Pinch me moment, doesn't it?
Yeah. And he was like, yeah, it is. And he loved it.
Yeah.
And so I think from top down, if you've got a boss who loves it and who's passionate about it and is driven, well, that just filters down to everybody, doesn't it?
Probably why it was such a success as well, because everybody that worked on it had probably that same passion.
Yeah, we all loved it. It was great crack, and we were a great team, and we enjoyed a night out.
Well, that was the best part of it. But you must have seen some characters that came along and stars that had their own agenda.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Really fun stories. And like a joke as well too, that I'll have to wait until everybody's dead before I can actually tell you the real truth about everything. But some that would surprise you, like really brilliant professionals at the top of their game, like Neil Diamond and U2. And, like they came in and were consummate professionals and nothing was a bother and they responded so well to the audience and everything. And then you had maybe other groups that haven't gone the distance, put it that way, who maybe spent 3.5 hours in makeup beforehand and refusing to come out whenever they're supposed to. Yeah. And then very quickly their wee careers would fizzle out,
Yeah.
So, but I suppose you find that in every industry, don't you?
You absolutely do. You absolutely do. And I suppose it prepared you then for the next venture then, coming back home and getting into, bringing young children along that career path and, giving them that knowledge that you've just built up and on top of the pops and giving them that bit of starlight that they want to progress with as well.
Yeah, it was interesting. When I came home initially, there wasn't much happening in terms of entertainment in Northern Ireland. Yeah. So I still had that bug then for working in that superficially glamorous environment. And I did go for an interview. Patrick Keelty, Almost Live, was recruiting new people for their next series. And I spoke to the guys there in that team and they had said, yes, we'd like you to come on as an assistant producer. And then just before it was about to start, they called me and went, actually, we're just going to go with the same person we used last year or the last time. I remember being really gutted and thinking, oh no, that was such a great opportunity. But what I've come to realize as well too is that everything happens for a reason. And redirection is a great thing, and you should just be adaptable. I think that's what working in this industry is about as well too, and look for opportunities elsewhere. So I then thought, well, I loved speech and drama, I loved acting. I'd done stuff with Ulster Youth Theatre and stuff. And I thought, I'll do this. This is a passion and see what happens. Never thought when I started a wee Saturday class in the Sega Hotel in 2002 that we would be 25 years later nearly and have a studio that's open 6 days a week and teaching in Belfast twice a week. And then an agency attached to it that has afforded us so many wonderful opportunities. So, but it's about adaptability and making the most of the opportunities whenever they arise.
It absolutely is. I mean, one door closes, one opens, and that's what you have to realise. Yeah. It takes a little while for you to realise that's the case. If you try to launch what you have today, 20 years ago, that market wasn't there.
That's it.
So it's pure timing for that too. But when you first started the business, it was out of that rejection or redirection that you started the business. Did you feel entrepreneurial, or was this emotional? I'm going to show you. It's like I'm or is it?
Do you know what? My dad was a businessman, right? And I saw he wasn't afraid of hard work. And my mother wasn't afraid of hard work either. And my daddy said, if my mummy worked for the 10 years or whatever until he got to the point where she didn't have to anymore, then she could stop. And to give her dues, she did stop immediately as soon as she possibly could. She did. But my daddy, he really instilled in me, what you put in, you get out.
Yeah.
So, and one thing he used to say to me was, you're not afraid of hard work. And I took that as a real compliment. See if anybody says that to me at all. You're a hard worker. You're not afraid of hard work. I really love that because that's how you get results. So, I went to uni to do business, even though I really wanted to do acting. My daddy was like, no, not paying for you to do 3 years of acting training. You'll be unemployed.
Good job.
Yeah, all of that. And he said, but I will support you if you go and do business. And sure, you can do bits and pieces behind the scenes, whatever, whenever you're over there, join drama clubs or whatever. So went and did business and really thrived in it as well, loved it. So I think that's the thing. I've been able to marry my two loves, like, you know, my passion for acting and performance and the passion for business as well. So I feel incredibly fortunate that this is where I've ended up.
Yeah, no, it's a fantastic story. And starting out on your own, because you were on your own for quite some time, you were doing speech and drama. So it was very much you were responsible. This was your baby and you had to make that work. And that's really hard as well.
True.
You know?
And it was me on my own. Now, I was really grateful there was some mummies along the way that would help me out with, say, group work and festival stuff and costumes and things. And
I was not one of those mummies because I was very bad with costumes. It's not my forte.
No, but they were blessed. Like, some of the mummies were so good and giving up their time and you know, and it was fun. But again, being that person on your own, I think I enjoyed that as well, because then I was the one, ultimately the buck stopped with me.
And control.
And control. Yeah, absolutely. And so I enjoyed that. And when the kids were small, my children now twins are 18 and Cora's 16 tomorrow, actually. You know, now that they're that wee bit more independent, I have so much more free rein to be able to develop things, you know, and plus Neil, my husband, he works in the business with me and has done for a few years now. So that has afforded me a lot more flexibility. But yeah, I was on my own for a long time and it was fun, but a wee bit stressful at times.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
Yeah.
And so it's grown quite quickly in the last few years.
Yeah.
And you have to have a support behind you with a good team, as you say. Neil's in it. I think Rose has gone into that business for a little while this year coming as well. But who else is in the business to support you?
So I'm really lucky. So on the Bafta's red carpet, Showbiz story, name dropping lots here as well. On the Bafta's red carpet, I met Alex, who works for me in the London office. So what we had found is there was a little bit of a disconnect between what actors thought they needed London representation in order to be seen for various projects. What we've tried to do is dispel that myth. So we're ideally placed actually because we're in the north of Ireland, Northern Ireland. We've got, you know, UK, Irish, international, all casting directors know us now, which is brilliant. But having that wee person in London, say wee person, Al, you're not a wee person, but having that person in London has been great for us. His ears on the ground. He's really brilliant when it comes to contracts and he's got lots of great contacts over there.
Yeah.
So that's Al. And then we've got Anna. We've got a staff about 7 now here at home. And great from Sarah Dillon, who is an acting tutor for me, who's worked in Line of Duty and was a repeated character in Game of Thrones, etc. So she does the classes for me in Belfast. Anna Murphy, who's one of my students. She trained at Bristol Old Vic, and she is now a teacher and helps out in the agency. And then we have Ellen, and we have a whole team of like really, really brilliant people who share the vision and who are great fun, easy on the nerves. That's what you need.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. But good. It's a good team. We've got Gary as well, who looks after the comedians because that's a whole new side of the business. Which is an exciting side of the business that we're growing slowly but surely. I like to get all the information before we sort of overstretch. So
I've seen Mickey Bartlett on your podcast.
Oh, he's brilliant. Is so funny. He is brilliant. He's really talented and as an actor too, and a really talented actor. But great fun. Like a meeting with Mickey Bartlett is hilarious, you know.
Yeah, we had him for an event one evening and it was
I can only imagine, but yeah.
It's so funny. He's such a funny guy. The remarkable story is that, you know, what you have now, as you rightly say, it just isn't a local agency anymore. It's global.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yeah. The thing that is brilliant about it is just how far the reach is. So I love telling this story. I was in the 4 Seasons in Beverly Hills. Right? I know.
You've said it all.
From Portadown, right? So the 4 Seasons in Beverly Hills. And I was meeting Jamie Dornan's agent, right? A lovely woman who is lauded as being one of probably the most important woman in Hollywood. Saw this in an article, Hollywood Reporter or Deadline or whatever. And a lovely, down-to-earth, hard-working, genuine woman, right? Sitting having a cup of coffee with her. And she said, we watch everything that comes out of Northern Ireland. We watch every actor, every creative, anything that's produced, because the standard is outstanding. The storytelling is amazing, you know, and I've just sat there thinking, wow.
Yeah.
Like, we think here we are, this wee country, the 6 counties or whatever, you know, and these huge people in Hollywood are watching everything we're doing.
And we don't realise the talent.
We're very humble. Yeah, actually, which is good, I suppose. It keeps
we need to keep that, keep it grounded.
We need that.
Yeah.
But we are amazing. Like, I'm so proud of us. You know, the country at large. Like, I'm really proud of the good things that come out of here. You know, so and we have to keep promoting that.
Great experience, though.
Yeah.
And again, you're managing Oscar winners, breakout actors, comedians, talent, international levels. And again, all mostly from here in Northern Ireland. But how do you build up that trust? That, you know, because that's a real, you know, your reputation exceeds you anyway. But that trust that you have with that actor, and as you alluded to earlier, that you know you've got that gut feeling that they have this great talent, but they don't believe in themselves. So how do you get that across, that you elevate them?
Yeah. So that's the thing. Again, whenever we were out in Hollywood, I was talking to Ken Branagh's management company, Berwick and Kavasic, and 2 wonderful women who've worked in the industry for a long time. And what they said was, Shelley, you're a talent spotter, right? And I love that too. So that's another thing that I've taken on and said, yeah, I'll absolutely take that. And we pride ourselves on being able to identify actors who we think we can offer meaningful representation to. So it's a team effort. They're trusting us and putting their career and their life and their hopes and their dreams and their wishes into our hands. So we don't take that lightly. So we will offer representation to people who we think that we can support. And you have to be there for the good times, but of course you have to be there for the bad times too. And not everything in acting just comes as easily to you. Like, very often, you probably have heard this, an overnight success might have taken maybe 15 years to get there.
Yeah.
So our job is to show the actors that we're working as hard as we possibly can. We aren't reactive. We call ourselves very proactive. Historically in Northern Ireland, some agents, not all, have waited for the opportunities to appear on the desk, and then they just send it out to their actors and say who's interested in this particular role. Whereas we're forever doing market research, what's been greenlit, what's coming up shortly, who can we reach out to of our network of contacts in order for our actors to be seen, so that we're looking for those opportunities in advance, so our actors are ready to hit the ground whenever those.
Yeah, you're putting them in front of people.
Yeah,
rather than waiting.
Yeah. That's it. I think that's the thing to do. And then whenever they get the job, brilliant, we all celebrate and everything's wonderful and fabulous. But when they don't get the job, we like to think that we're there as an ear to listen to them. And so that they understand that this is all part of it. Like, we're here to support you as much as we possibly can throughout these difficult times as well.
And the lessons you've learned as well along the way is that this is timing. You know, this is not for you. There'll be,
There's something else.
Something come along.
Yeah.
And again, the contractual obligations now are huge. You know, the fine print, you know, where somebody will come along and go, I've made it, I've got it, you know, I'm there, signs the bottom line, and not realizes what they've actually signed up to. So that's one of the skill sets that you have as well with your team.
Yeah.
That you make sure that it's fair.
Absolutely. So contracts are quite, can be very different from short films to Netflix contracts. So Netflix contracts, an agent friend of mine calls them onerous, quite onerous, which is a great word because it's like a tomb rather than an actual, like a contract. And our job is to be like really, really look at every aspect of that and how it will impact. Yeah. Because sometimes there's a thing with every contract called usage. And so it's about how the actor's image is going to be used, etc., and for how many years, and will they get paid appropriately for that? So just making sure that they're not exploited is the important thing, that they're protected. And we negotiate hard to get the best deal that we possibly can for them, of course, because their success is our success. So yes, and Al, who I talked about there earlier in London, is like a dog with a bone when it comes to the financial offer. So yeah, he's great to have on the team.
Yeah, and that's great for your team, and that's great for the actors on board as well. Again, the trust that goes back, that you have their best interests at heart every single
Always.
time. Not just trying to get them in front of a camera, but also financially.
Well, and this is the thing. And sometimes producers say, "Oh, Al's giving them a hard time, or we've been a wee bit difficult to deal with." But no, we're not. We're just protecting the actor.
Yeah, exactly.
Just making you pay what you're supposed to pay. This is it.
So here, tell me about the Oscars. Obviously, you were there with James Martin, and in 2023. What struck you by James for the Oscars? What talent did he have that you went, this is the guy?
Well, so I'd been to the Oscars in 2022 with Ken Branagh's team and the movie Belfast.
Yeah.
And that was when I was sitting in the audience when Will Smith slapped Chris Rock, which, is a story that I'll down on it forever and ever.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that for sure, yeah.
But let's talk about James. So An Irish Goodbye, beautiful short film.
It was a great film.
Oh, really beautiful. Yeah. The boys, Ross and Tom, really talented filmmakers, and just a great team, like a family. Like you talked about the importance of family in your business, and that's what this felt like. This production was everybody was on board for the right reasons, and you just never knew what was going to happen with it. That's the thing. That's the beauty of this industry as well. You just don't know what's going to happen. But I'd been to see the film. I knew of James, of course, because he'd been in ups and downs. He'd also been in Marcella, and he had been represented by a smaller agency in England. And on the BAFTA's red carpet again, I spoke with Ivan and James, and Ivan Martin's James' daddy. And he said, would you be interested in having a conversation? I said, absolutely, I'd be interested in having a conversation. James is an excellent actor. He's an actor first, an actor with Down syndrome, but he's an actor first. He's got a great role coming up now. He starts filming in September. I'm not allowed to say too much about it, but it's a great show that he's got a brilliant role in. And he's so inspiring. He would do guest speeches at after dinner speeches and things, and is incredibly motivating about chasing your dreams and not allowing things to get in your way. And he approaches his scripts the way that any good actor does. He reads them, he analyzes his character, he thinks about the objectives in the scene. Sometimes he rewords a line or two that he feels that he could make it sound more authentic. Yeah. He's really talented, and he's just a dote.
He was amazing in that short film. It was great. When that Oscar opportunity happens, with your team at home and the students that you have, do you find that elevates them, that all of a sudden it's also tangible? They can nearly touch it, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think so. It's funny, a parent of one of the students I have phoned me and said, Shelley, you've made it look as though it's just really easy to reach out and talk to a casting director from London or from LA or whatever. We all know as mummies and daddies how difficult that actually is, but now we've made it appear so much more tangible. And to be fair, that's what, a bit like your podcast too, is the reason why we started our podcast was to demystify elements of the industry. We're not saying it's easy by any stretch of the imagination. You've still got to put your hard work and determination. The opportunity's not just going to land in your lap, but it's much more open than it ever was because we're trying to get access for people. We're trying to make it more accessible. And so, I remember BBC came over and did like a bit in the studio, and Sky came to do a bit in the studio, and the students were, that's great. It's just what this is our lives now. This is, but it's good fun.
And Northern Ireland, it's not really trying to break into the industry anymore because it's really very established now.
Absolutely.
What do you think, what do you think produces the actors in Northern Ireland or Ireland to be much more believable performers?
I think maybe because we don't have that history of stage school or
like the fame or that sort of thing, is destined to happen.
Exactly. And I just think we're so grateful, coming from our very recent history as well. And there's not a great deal of money in Northern Ireland compared to England, compared to LA, so any opportunities that come along, we're still really hungry for them. And then we're really grateful when we get those opportunities. It's not just expected, and we know that we have to graft for it, we have to work for it. And because the kids are coming from a much more grounded reality, I think, I think that's what makes us a wee bit more believable and authentic on screen, perhaps.
I think the history that we've had has an effect on that.
I think so. I think, we're coming from a place where, like, I remember Tesco's wouldn't even come here. You know, and it was amazing whenever it arrived. And McDonald's, there was no McDonald's in Portadown,
Yeah, exactly.
And so I think that's so recently ingrained in our psyche that that's why we're so much more authentic. I think on screen.
Yeah, I don't disagree. And I suppose when it comes to talent manager, instinct plays a huge part. So you've got the actor who has, that believable character, and you can see a light in it. So, but when you see somebody for the first time, what are you assessing with them?
So it's a gut feeling, right? So obviously there's all the stuff that you and I were taught at speech and drama, which is, you've got a diction, clarity, believability connected to text or whatever, like all of that. So a good part of that's in my brain. But the other part of it is the gut instinct when you see somebody and there's just something about their energy, and it is, but we were down at the Lear recently, which is a training academy in Dublin, which is affiliated to RADA. And we saw brilliant work for them at their graduates. So they're doing an acting degree and they're like third level. And I identified 2 actors that I thought, they'd be great in our books. And Lisa Richards snapped them up, which is like a competitor in Dublin, and one of them won the Spotlight Award for a finalist award. And Al said to me, "Shelley, you've got great eyes." And I said, "I know," but it was too late. They were away.
The timing was right.
The timing was wrong there. But you never know; they could come back to us again. Who knows? Who knows? But it is a gut instinct. It's something that I can see it and know that there's great potential there, and it's somebody who I would really love to work with and support.
Yeah. And again, with talent, that you can see that immediate, that 30 seconds, they've got something. But for others that maybe take a bit of work, can it be taught, or is it something that you have to just have in you?
Do you know, that's so interesting that you ask that, because lots of people come to the acting classes, and I do believe that there's diamonds in the rough that we can help, and it has definitely worked.
And that could be confidence or things that get there that they just don't have.
Yeah, or the clarity thing is a big thing, because I don't know if you know Hope Street, one of the exec producers on it, refused to watch self-tapes from actors if they mumbled and they weren't clear, so that their self-tapes were put into the recycle bin. So things like that, we can help with the diction, the clarity, the phrasing, the understanding, the characterization when it comes to approaching text. But you either have it or you haven't. Like, there's great stories of casting directors finding actors in kickboxing clubs, maybe having met them walking down the street hearing them arguing. With Charlize Theron famously found arguing in a bank in LA with the teller, but she was discovered by a director. So you either have it or you haven't, I think, in certain circumstances, but some people can be helped to develop.
Yeah.
But it is a talent, isn't it?
Yeah, well, you know more than me, for sure. And I love the fact that you talk about it's not rejection, because for so many, rejection's hard.
Yeah.
We see it in our industry. Everybody that walks into our showroom does not buy a car. And there's lots of rejections, and probably 20 rejections for one sale. Do you know what I mean? Because people are just inquiring, or so it's that reframing. And then redirect it, and then you're off to the next person, the next opportunity, rather than dragging yourself down and being negative about that one that you didn't get. Yeah. So for your team, for your young actors that are coming through, that's really hard, and that's a challenge for you to try and reframe that for them, and for them to see the redirection, because sometimes it's not that easy.
No, I like that parallel though, of because you put your heart and soul into every sale. The guys here as well, it's the same with us. You put your heart and soul into every tape you do or every audition that you do, and you cannot allow the failure to define you. What you have to do is, everything is a learning experience. Take from it, be grateful for the experience in the first place, take what you can learn from it and move on. And very often we say to our actors, do the tape, do the audition, forget about it. Mm-hmm. That's the actual work of an actor, is doing all of the work to try and get the job. The job is like the icing on the cake. If you get it, happy days.
Yeah.
But the rest of the time, the work is graft. Do things maybe to help improve your skill set, you know, do an accent workshop or go and meet casting directors, whatever. But yeah, it's the resilience. Don't come into this industry unless you're incredibly resilient. And the irony is, as an actor, you have to have empathy and be sensitive. But yeah, at the same time, you have to steel yourself against all of this rejection, you know. So it is difficult. It's not for the faint-hearted, but the rewards are so great when they come.
And that's a real emotional responsibility that you have as well, because when they haven't got that part, you know, and their dreams are shattered, it's like, you know, you really have to put your arm around them and steer them in the right direction.
Yeah.
So when does it stop feeling like a business and you're really invested in that young actor? I know. This is the thing. It is sometimes when the result comes through that it's not the result that we want. We all feel it. And what I try to do in that instance, even if it's a WhatsApp, or even, you know, please don't worry, you did a great job representing us and representing yourself. Great to be in front of this team, onwards and upwards. Mm-hmm. And that can be applied to absolutely anything in life, you know. And Rosa Fraser is my daughter, and she wants to be an actor, and she was in Blue Lights there the last season and loved it, and it was wonderful. She's done Game of Thrones as well and all of that sort of stuff. And she'll come into me when she hasn't got a role, and I feel it, but I can't show her how deeply I feel it. That must be so hard because you're the parent and
yeah, you know,
and the tutor, you know.
It's funny because I have to be harder on her, I suppose, you know, as well. Because
I think we all are. We're always harder on our children, you know, in work ethic.
You have to be, because things just aren't handed to you, and that's just life. And so what I've tried to say to her is, you learn from it, feel your feelings, that's fine, but then you have to get up and you have to, as my mother always said, shake yourself, get up, shake yourself, and go on. Yeah.
And managing parents as well.
Yes.
Because their expectations are really high.
It's actually changed quite a lot since you...
Well, that's quite good. My parents were really...
yeah. Well, do you know, now there is a showbiz parent that has developed in this part of the world, which we never had before.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
So being careful, I suppose, about what I say. On the one hand, that drive is good, but, you know, also let the kids be the kids, let them be children.
Enjoy it.
And we don't put too much focus on, you know, if you get the job, then you get the job, brilliant. And you'll have your social media post that says, well done, you've got the job. But we don't go on and on and on about it in the classes, or because this is just your day to day. This is what we're trying to make it, is that, you know, it's fine. Your worth is not valued on the job you get, or if you got first in a festival, or, you know, it's what joy you get from it and what learning experience you can take from it for your life at large. You know,
it's like any business. If you are, or anything we do, sports or whatever, if you don't love it,
don't do it.
Don't do it.
No,
you're in it for the wrong reasons.
That's it.
You know, if you don't love coming to work every day, or, you know, there's something in it that you have a passion or a joy. So you already say it's no matter what industry it is or what sport it is, it's exactly the same.
Yeah,
you have to love what you do.
Oh, you do. Don't force it.
No, and the rest should become. That's natural. The rest then is the, you know, what you get from that. Yeah. You know, rather than having to put the work in to something you don't like and then you don't actually get anything out of it personally.
Yeah, it's the same when you're talking about, you know, all the different aspects of the agency. I always say to everybody, you know, we put the right work in for the right intention, and then the money will come.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
Exactly. So wheeling back then to the Oscars, because it's a great story of this here. You know, and you're there at that iconic moment. So tell me a bit about it.
Okay, so the Oscars in 2022, amazing experience. You know, so on the way up even to the Dolby Theatre, your car is checked several times to make sure that there's nobody trying to sneak their way into the Oscars.
Did anybody try to wipe the grin off your face the entire time?
Yeah. Oh no, I was just like, I made like, you know, spot the culty from Portadown. But I'm so lucky to be literally escorted on the carpet. Now, so all the industry people go down one side, and then the stars and celebrities go down the other side, and you're just separated by a very thin bit of material, you know. And the two of us, Jude and his mummy, went down this bit of the carpet, and then Jude's daddy Daryl and I went down the other bit of the carpet, past the glam bot, upstairs, lots of free drink and food, and people just milling around. And one of my favourite stories, I haven't told too much actually, is Bradley Cooper came along.
Yeah.
And
nice.
Right. Beautiful man. And he was with his mummy, and he was escorting his mummy to the ladies. And so we just happened to have come out of the ladies, and I was standing with Jude's mummy. She went, "Oh, it's Bradley Cooper." And I said, "Oh, would you want to say hello to him?" Because part of my job has been, you know, management or whatever, is going up to people and making the introductions. So she was like, yeah. So he'd obviously had a couple of drinks, I'm imagining. And so I went up to him and I said, "Excuse me, Bradley, my name's Shelley Lowry." And he said, "Hold on a second." And he grabbed my hand, right? But as he grabbed my hand, he turned around to go and talk to somebody else. And he talked. And I'm like, I'm just holding Bradley Cooper's hand. And then it started to get really uncomfortable because it was just too long.
Did I say let go of this?
Yeah, what do I do? I can't let go now because I could make it real. And Shawneen was looking at me. She was like, you know, so when is it appropriate to kind of, and then he just turned around to me and he went, "Lovely to have met you," and walked off. And that was it. So he just held my hand for that amount of time and didn't have a conversation with me. It was though weird. I can still feel the sweatiness of my palm as I'm getting very conscious of it. But yeah, it was so fun. Like that sort
surreal,
of surreal really stuff. Yeah. And then even more surreal was sitting beside Joe Lycett.
He's a great.
And then out comes Chris Rock, does a really rubbish joke. We all groan a bit.
Yeah.
And then Will Smith gets up, and I think, oh, good, because, you know, it's Will Smith and Chris Rock, something really funny is going to happen. And then the slap, he swung back so far that it looked like it was a joke.
Very staged.
Yes, that's what it looked like. And it was so loud. And at the Dolby Theatre, so it was COVID time, so there's normally 2,500 in the Dolby Theatre, there's only 2,000 of us. And the echo of the slap, and we all went, and I looked at Joe Lycett and I had my eyes, was that meant to happen? And he went, "I don't know." And then when the swearing started, and it was so loud, like Will Smith can project his voice really well. Yeah. It was so loud, and you could have heard
the realization, this is not.
You could have heard a pin drop. Like, I mean, people's eyes were huge, and we all were like, 2,000 people feeling awkward at the same time is a really interesting vibe in a room. You know, we're like, and then he said, "Oh, Chris Rock just slapped the out of me," and we all, that wasn't meant to happen. And then the VT happened for the next award to be given out, and we all went, "Oh my God, I can't believe that happened." People running all over the place, and it was chaos. It was bonkers. Yeah. And then what we waited to see, like, I knew Will Smith was tipped to win the Best Actor award, and I thought surely they're not going to let him come out after doing that. And whenever he came out and blamed the devil for making him slap Chris Rock, you know,
his manager's probably going, "Okay, so this is what you're going to say."
Yeah, like Denzel Washington had told him apparently at the side, you know, the devil comes for you when you're at your best and everything. And that's what he came out and said. And you can't hear it, but we were booing, you know, we were up in the cheap seats, obviously up at the top. And so I was just thinking to myself, this wouldn't happen in Belfast. He wouldn't be allowed to have come back out here and get that award. He'd have been taken off.
Been out.
Yeah.
Out the back.
Yeah. So he went on to the Vanity Fair party and danced away like nothing had happened. We all went into, there's a place called the Governor's Ball, that you go into after the Oscars, and they have an engraving station and everything where you bring your Oscar to be engraved. But Will didn't come. We all went, and nobody talked about it there, actually.
Yeah, I was going to say, was it all passed off?
Yeah.
And just let's enjoy our night.
Yeah, let's not take away. Yeah, because that was Kenneth Branagh's first Oscar as well, which was amazing to be there with him when he won that. And he was so delighted and excited. We were all so happy for him. And Judy Dench was there, and, you know, had sat and chatted to her. And she's what a lovely woman, and it's such an amazing icon in the industry. And so it was brilliant. Like you know, all of that happening.
So when you went back in 2023, it was a bit.
Well, it was. Well, that year, then I met. No, actually, the year before I met Liam Payne and did a whole video and everything with Liam Payne. Bless him. Yeah. But the next year, we were really lucky because it felt like a family affair. The next year, and Barbara Broccoli had been very kind to us and to the boys, etc., and had arranged a few things for us all to be involved with, and like to meet her, even James Bond woman, you know, like unreal to be. You know, what a lovely, humble woman as well.
And that's what's coming across. The people that you're meeting that represent the actors are really just down to earth. They're very humble.
Those at the top of their game, I have found in this industry, whether it was the music industry or this industry, are hardworking, humble, mannerly, grateful, professional people. There are the odd ones that you meet that are not, but then thankfully I don't have to have much to do with them.
They're a minority rather than
exactly, and they don't have longevity in this business if that's how you behave or you conduct yourself, because it's a small industry and we all know each other.
It's the same in every industry.
Yeah,
if that's how you portray yourself, it'll be a short shelf life, you know.
Yeah, exactly. So. And I do think that us from this part of the world, because we are still so grateful for it all, like we're known for hard working, we are, and how brilliant crew is here, etc. And so long may that continue.
Yeah, Belfast was a great film.
Yeah,
and the cast was amazing.
Yeah,
really good. So, you know, you had an early look at the Belfast script and written by Kenneth Branagh. When you looked at that script, did you know that Jude and Lewis, that this is for you?
Well, you know, I knew. It's funny because Jude had been auditioning for quite a few different roles, and he kept getting that rejection that we talk about. And his mummy had said to me just prior to Belfast happening, like, I don't think I can take this anymore. It's not the child. She says, the child's okay. He's all right. She says, it's me and the rejection. I don't know. And I said, hang on in there. Something is coming. I know it's coming. Didn't know it was going to be this bonkers.
Yeah.
But when the auditions started to happen and he was getting through quite quickly and rapidly, and the big casting directors were ringing us directly to talk to us, then I knew that this was going to be going somewhere. And then they sent the script. There were a few changes in the actual movie in the end of it all. But when I read the script, I was like, oh no, this is great. This is, you know, it tells Kenneth Branagh's story. And the cast that they had attached. So we already knew that Jamie Dornan was attached. We knew that Judy Dench was attached, that Ciarán Hinds was attached, Katrina Balfe. Like, what an amazing ensemble cast. Like, really, and again, all of them lovely people. I was very lucky to be flown out to LA and to go to tastemaker events in the October before the Oscars that happened in the March. And we went to LA and we went to New York, and I spent all that time with the cast. Just the only person that couldn't come was Judy Dench because of the COVID risks at the time. Yeah. But the rest of the guys, we went to Santa Barbara, and we went to all of these beautiful buildings and events that were run for Oscar voters. And I was at a party in the Hills, Beverly Hills, in a house, and Sharon Stone and Annette Bening were there. Like, what?
So good.
Do you know, isn't that mad? Just mental.
I want your job.
Yeah. And you just have to be like, oh, hello there, Sharon, how are you? You know.
I do this all the time.
Yeah. But yeah, so it is magical that things like this can happen, you know, and I think that the fact that I'm not at all, you know, I don't expect it. It's magical every moment, every day I get up and there's something exciting
use
happens.
The highs, use the wins. Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. And for the likes of Jude and Lewis as well, with that such a high level cast to go in and not be so nervous. That must have been really, really difficult for them as well, though.
Well, Jude was young enough. You know, he was only 9, turning 10. Yeah. So he didn't know who these people were.
Yeah.
You know,
these are old people.
Yeah. Who are these people? And so Shawneen was giving me updates when she was on set, and she said, "Oh, walk past Jamie Dornan today." And I'm like, "No, oh my goodness, he's so fabulous." And and then slowly but surely you get more, okay, this is the job. This is what I'm here to do. I can't get starstruck every time I'm in the room with somebody that I'm, you know what I mean? And Lewis as well too. Lewis actually had quite a few good roles before he landed Belfast, so he was used to working on a set. So, and his mummy's really professional, lovely lady as well, Leslie. She's fabulous, and so they just took it all in their stride. I think just when you're there and you're working every day, and there are deadlines, and it's tough. You know, there's a lot to get through in a day's filming, etc. You don't have time to think about it.
Starstruck you just have to get on with the job.
That's it.
Brilliant. It's fabulous. So it is. You also have ventured out because you have this insatiable appetite for progressing your business. And you also now have a fantastic podcast. So tell me about the podcast. How did this come about?
So we decided to start the podcast because we know that in Northern Ireland is a relatively new industry that we're working in, and we wanted to provide some information, I suppose, and an insight into what actually happens behind the scenes. So we've got industry guests come in and tell us about their aspect of the industry, and to dispel some of the myths, I suppose, surrounding the industry, because it can appear a bit of like a closed shop, and we're trying to be a bit more accessible.
And do you find it really frustrating when people sort of arrive, you know, for your talent and say, well, okay, I'm here, and you're going like, oh no, you have a bit more work to do here. So is that to try and,
that as well, is to make them realise that there's an awful lot of hard work involved. We would get a lot of applications, which is brilliant. There's such an interest in the industry and also in the agency. But you have to put the work in order to be taken seriously. Like in anywhere, you just wouldn't turn up. Like I couldn't turn up here into your workshop and say, right, I'm here to valet a car. Or I haven't been taught how to do it. I don't know how to do it. I could give it a go, but I wouldn't have a clue. So it's the same thing. You know, people need to be willing to learn and to take advice, and we try. That's what the podcast is about: is try and give everybody a little bit of a steer on things. So
an insight.
An insight.
And pull that back. And there is hard work in the background. And there's so much to be done that before you venture into this industry, be aware.
Yeah, that's it.
You know, be clear on what your vision is.
Yeah.
Love it. And how many sessions are you into your podcast now?
9, I think now. So we've got this next one. We're planning on doing like a behind the scenes. We're producing a show at the Mac, and it's something that the business is moving into as well, which is more production. So we've got a show coming up in November in the Mac and in Marketplace Theatre in Armagh, where we're using 3 of our professional actors. They're doing a show called Dublin Carol. This one that we're doing is with our students in the Mac in June. So we thought we'll take people behind the scenes and show them what's involved and what we're getting up to on a day-to-day as well. A little different aspect, because as a creative here, it's important to have more than one string to your bow if you're an actor, I think, initially before you get your big break. Yeah. So maybe you're a drama facilitator, or maybe you're creating your own theatre pieces. You're making opportunities for yourself as well. So that's what this is all about too, showing behind the scenes about how people can do that for themselves.
Brilliant. So from the highs of LA and the Oscars and BAFTAs and the Governor's Ball, what grounds you? So back home in Portadown, what grounds you, Shelley?
I have started going to the gym, right? So I had my gallbladder out in February 2025.
Okay.
And after that, I said, I really have to start looking after myself. So I had really not been looking after myself with the pressures of work and everything, making bad decisions, food-wise, nutrition-wise. So I started going to PT 3 times a week, and I go twice a week myself. And it's before the office opens. I'm down early in the morning, and now it's all about lifting as heavy weights as I possibly can and all of that. So that is what keeps my head firmly on the here, and my PT keeps me grounded. She's brilliant. Olivia Willis, her name is. She's fabulous. And so that, and then obviously at home, I've got the kids still, the animals, all of that.
But concentrating on yourself is so important, especially running a business at this level, because if you're not grounded, if you're not focused, if your head is not in the right space, it's increasingly difficult. And that stems into your team then.
Yeah.
You know, if your head's down, their head's down. You have to be positive. Out early in the mornings, you know, I'm a great believer of this as well. Cold showers in the morning and out and you're up and your head's in the right place.
That's it. It's about getting your head more even so than the physical aspect of it. It's the mental side of it.
Absolutely.
You know, because you're down there and all you have to think about is surviving, lifting this next set or whatever. And then I love to put the AirPods in and I create my gym playlists and I get on the treadmill or whatever, the Stairmaster or whatever, and just zone out. And it's brilliant. I don't know how I did it beforehand, Caroline. Like, you know, it's taken me this long to get back into all of this again, but I'm a bit evangelical about it now. I absolutely love it. And I think it's really important for everybody, and particularly women at our age of life, that it's the best thing. We're very, very young people, of course, but it's very, very important to do this for yourself.
It is. Yeah. Because we can throw ourselves into so much and not look after ourselves, and it will affect us later on down.
Yeah, and in all aspects of life.
Yeah, absolutely. That's really, and you absolutely look fantastic, Sita. You're looking at absolutely amazing. You. Going back about the shy girl and walking into those speech and drama classes, look back now and you're looking back down that alleyway and going like, you know, what would surprise you now about, or what would surprise her about your life now?
Do you know what's really interesting? I don't know if you believe in this or not, but I am a bit of a believer in manifesting what you want. Now, you can call it praying, manifesting, whatever you want to call it. But I remember sitting outside Connor's Chemist in Portadown in the car. Do you remember when you had to stay in the car in case it got blown up, right? And you had to prove to the police there's no bomb in your car. Yeah, the good old days, right? So sitting listening to Elaine Page, Barbara Dixon outside Connor's Chemist.
And I was saying, who?
Yeah. Only certain people of a certain age will get this. Get it. And I said out loud, one day I'll be at the Oscars. Now, I should have maybe been more specific in that I wanted to be there winning an award myself as an actor. But it happened, right? So I do believe, looking back, you know, and I thinking about being in the car with my mummy whenever I won that prize and all the rest of it. What would surprise, I suppose that I made speech and drama, that wee thing on a Monday at 3:30, that I've made my whole life out of it.
Yeah.
You know, that my entire life and reason for getting up every day and, you know, is because that choice my mother made to help me.
And she would have been so proud of you as well.
Oh, my mummy, she just would have loved it.
Yeah, the stories. Tell me more.
I know.
Give me the gossip.
Should have been in the middle of it all.
Exactly. Yeah. And what still scares you?
Ooh, so what scares me is I don't get scared by much, I have to say. Because every day I'm grateful for, and I know that there is a lesson in every single thing that happens, but good or bad. But I suppose maybe not. Oh, I don't know. Does anything really scare me? I like to be successful. I like to be, maybe not being busy scares me at the moment. That's where my head is at the minute.
That adrenaline, that push, that,
yeah.
You know, what will I do if I don't have this?
Yeah. So that's why I'm always looking for what's next.
Yeah.
You know, where can we be moving and growing into next? Where the next networking opportunities so yeah, that's maybe it.
Which next then you've brought on Shelley Lowry Talent, Access.
Access, yes. So that's a new thing. That's actually Anna Murphy, who works for me, who trained at Bristol Old Vic. She had this idea of, well, why don't we develop to reach out to people across Ireland, across the UK, who want access to casting directors or people in the industry that they wouldn't have had access to. And because we can use my name and the reputation, it's brilliant. So we've got Maureen Hughes, who works with Cillian Murphy, and she discovered Barry Keoghan, and she's a wonderful, wonderful woman, incredibly talented casting director. She's doing our first session at the end of June. Unbelievable.
But if you put it out there,
yeah,
you know, it can't just stay as an idea. You know, as you said, there's a demand for these things.
Yeah.
So where you're in this environment now that allows you to do it, it's fantastic. It's great.
It is. It's good fun. It's good fun.
Watch that space.
Yeah. That'll develop hopefully now. We've got 4 more guests lined up for the summertime. And so we want to keep that going and think about how we can develop it.
I could just sit here and talk to you all day, but I can't. Look, going back to a little bit of car talk.
Yay!
So I suppose I have to ask you, what was your first car?
Okay, so my first car, I'm really excited about this bit because I didn't think I was a car girl until most recently, and we'll come back to that. But my first car that I owned myself was a Mercedes A-Class. You know, it's a different shape now.
Yeah.
Like back then it looked more like a wee shoe.
Yeah.
And it was brilliant. Great on the juice, great on the tires, great on the tax. I could park it literally on a postage stamp. Do you know what I mean? It was brilliant. And I drove all around Northern Ireland in it. And I absolutely loved it. But now,
tick
that box. Now I'm driving a wee Porsche Macan, and I didn't think I was such a big car girl until I heard the roar of that engine, and I love it. Yeah. And then whenever you put the brakes on, even when you're coming off the motorway, and it goes as well, I'm like, ooh, every time I get it, like, oh, I love it.
That nice purring sensation.
Yeah. Now she's terrible on the juice, really expensive the tires, really, you know what I mean? But you know, we're at a different time in our lives now. So.
We're in the nice time in the life. Yeah. There's affordability.
That's it.
Exactly. So you've been a fantastic guest, and I always want to know if people want to know more about you, want to get involved with your talent agency, where are they going to find out more about you?
So we're really active on socials. You'll find us on Instagram, Shelley Lowry Talent, and on Facebook, Shelley Lowry Talent. There is our website. There's a form you can fill out there if you're interested in applying for representation. Submissions at shelleylowry.com. And yeah, you can find all our information. We're always working on our SEO and all of that. So you should be able to find us handily enough. Just reach out, send us an email or send us a message on socials, and we'll get back to you.
Fantastic. Brilliant. Excellent. Thank you so much. So that's it for another episode of Break Time. Shelley, thanks so much for joining me. It's an absolute delight to chat to you and listen to these fantastic stories, old and new. And if you've enjoyed this episode, don't forget to follow or subscribe wherever you get your podcast, and share it with someone who loves a great success story. Thanks for listening, and join me next time with more guests, more stories, and more inspiration. Class.
Yay, thank you.
Oh, so good.
Good crack.